This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, and faith-focused feature stories with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
Next steps for Iran. Good Friday afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast. President Trump said to be mulling over a major surge in the war. He's huddled today with his cabinet at Camp David. It's the first time they've met there since he took office for the second time. Retired four-star Army General Jack Keane says it's time to amp up the military campaign.
The straits aren't open, and we're not any closer to a nuclear deal. Let's get this over with.
Lisa DeFardi, editor-in-chief of the Foreign Desk, thinks this war cannot be won apart from regime change.
What we're doing is incremental degradation. And maybe nobody wants to say this part out loud, but I know Donald Trump knows it. It's not working to move the needle where we need it to move.
Retired Navy SEAL Mike Sorelli.
The American people are asking why this is taking so long. I think the better question is why we allowed this tyranny to go on for decades, why we avoided this conflict.
Meantime, the U.S. State Department's just announced new sanctions on China, India, and Russia for propping up the Islamic regime. China's accused of selling shoulder-fired rocket launchers to Iran. Rebecca Heinrichs with the Hudson Institute.
We would expect the Chinese, obviously, not to be helping the country that we are in a war with right now. This would be a major escalation on the part of the Chinese to get engaged in this.
The State Department says India provided an airline to transport Iran's Quds forces, and Russia's been supplying drone technology to the Iranians. A peace deal's been reached to disarm the terror group Hamas in Gaza. Here's Fox's Gernal Scott.
President Trump called the work of his Board of Peace a monumental step toward a lasting peace. The plan, he said, will result in a Palestinian government in control of Gaza with no harbor for terror groups. It would also ensure security for Israel.
Israeli government spokesman Ilan Levy views this peace deal, however, with a healthy degree of skepticism.
We have to be very skeptical of Hamas, which has tried at every opportunity to slip through every nook and cranny to ensure its survival and sabotage peace agreements.
The 20-point peace plan includes an international stabilization force that would work alongside Palestinian police. It also ensures that Gaza can no longer be used as a staging ground to mount terrorist attacks. A new warning today from both the FBI and the EPA over the rising risk of hackers targeting water and wastewater treatment plants in this country. It follows cyber attacks on over 30 water facilities in Minnesota. Officials there think it's the work of Iran. Water utilities in at least a half dozen states reporting similar hack attacks.
It's a wake-up call to all critical infrastructure in all states. We need to be prepared for cyber attacks.
That's Bryce Austin, a cybersecurity expert. Record highs will be broken this weekend as an extreme heat dome sets up shop from the southwest to the northern plains. NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman.
113 in Las Vegas today, 114 in Phoenix. Roswell tops out at 105. Much of these numbers are 10 to even 15 degrees above where they should be. Even Oklahoma City into the triple digits, 103 degrees.
Palm Springs could exceed 120 tomorrow, and Death Valley could hit 126. 40 million Americans under extreme heat emergencies this weekend. A migrant crisis is worsening between Morocco and Spain. ABC's James Longman.
Almost 50,000 people are now known to have rushed the border between Morocco and the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, and the situation is still not fully under control. This is on the northern tip of Africa and is the only land border with Europe, and so these people are doing this to claim asylum.
At least 34 people were killed trying to cross over into Spain from Morocco. It's a first-of-its-kind verdict in Georgia. A judge there has sentenced a dad to 15 years in prison for something his son did. Colin Gray is the father of Colt Gray, who killed 4 people at his high school 2 years ago.
This is now the first time in U.S. history that a parent will serve prison time specifically for murder after their child carried out a deadly school shooting. The judge telling Colin Gray that he failed as a parent and that his negligence led directly to the deaths of 2 students and 2 teachers at Apalachee High School.
ABC's Faith Abube says Colin Gray gave his son the gun that was used in the shooting. Colt Gray, who's now 16, is serving a life sentence. The FDA investigating a new cyclospora outbreak that's not linked to lettuce. Almost 100 cases have been confirmed in 9 states. This is separate from that stomach bug that sickened thousands in more than 40 states. That foodborne parasite is linked to shredded lettuce produced on farms in central Mexico. A new Fox News poll shows Democrat James Tallarico holding on to a 3-point lead over Republican Ken Paxton in the U.S. Senate race in Texas.
The economy is everything right now, and people are feeling, particularly gas prices, too high. It's a tax on everybody, and if that doesn't get resolved, then Democrats will have a very good night come November.
Media critic Joe Concha.
If inflation continues to be seen as a Republican problem, Democrats, they're going to get a chance in places like Texas, a state that, remember, President Trump won the Lone Star State by 14 points in 2024.
The Fox News survey shows 24% of non-MAGA Republicans are backing Tallarico over Paxton in that high-profile Senate contest. And a new study by the University of Michigan shows older adults who take 5 or more prescription drugs a day face an increased risk of early death. 12 to 16% of all Americans are in that boat. The study's published in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society. Still to come on the Noon Report for Friday, Christian College shutting down. Local leaders defy the governor, and a blow to those who want to pump the brakes on assisted suicide.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Williams, and ice day underway across our region today. The weekend ahead, it's a 50-50 affair weather-wise. I'll have forecasted hails up in 10 minutes.
All right, Kevin, we'll see you then. Let's check the stories making news across New York and Pennsylvania. This week's flash flooding claimed the life of a 39-year-old man in Sullivan County, New York. His body recovered 2.5 miles downstream from where he crashed his pickup into a utility pole. The New York State DOT Commissioner Marie Dominguez says dozens of roads and bridges were damaged in this week's storm.
The impact of the storm in certain places has been enormous, and we need to make sure that we give our crews time to actually assess the damage.
Relentless rain Tuesday and Wednesday destroyed a 300-year-old grist mill in the Hudson Valley. The owner of that grist mill telling Spectrum News,
the water was about 3 feet high, so it just carried things and floated things all over the place. It even knocked over the fridge. That's pretty remarkable.
Some parts of the Hudson Valley saw 10 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. Talk about a deluge. Pennsylvania's top election official is questioning claims by the Homeland Security Department that more than 14,000 non-citizens are registered to vote in the Keystone State. Secretary of State Al Schmidt says the federal government has not identified the data it used in reaching that conclusion. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says starting August 25th, it will be illegal for local cops to cooperate with federal immigration officials. She's already threatening legal action against law enforcement that resists the rule.
Let me be very clear. No county executive, no sheriff is above the law.
But many local leaders are vowing to disobey that state law that bans police from working with ICE.
This is a line in the sand for us. We will not yield.
Rensselaer County Executive Steve McLaughlin.
I have no intention of complying with that illegal order by Kathy Hochul and Letitia James.
GOP gubernatorial candidate Bruce Blakeman says the governor and attorney general are putting politics ahead of public safety.
These people don't care about the safety of our communities, and that should be job number one for elected officials. So I'm discussing it with our lawyers for counties around the state.
Governor Hochul and Attorney General James have created a new Office of Immigrant Trust to ensure that local police are not cooperating with ICE in the Empire State. As you might expect, lawsuits are pending. A federal judge has dismissed a lawsuit that challenges New York's Medical Aid in Dying Act. That law lets the terminally ill kill themselves with the aid of a doctor and will take effect next week. Here's Family Life's Sarah Harnish.
A group of disability rights advocates filed a lawsuit over the law in June, claiming that people with life-threatening disabilities are a protected class under the Americans with Disabilities Act. But a U.S. district judge ruled on Thursday that the groups lack standing. The measure faces another lawsuit from about a dozen Catholic groups that argue it forces them to participate in care that goes against their religious beliefs. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Thank you, Sarah. A private Pennsylvania university is shutting down, and that's leaving students in limbo with just weeks to go before the fall semester. The University of Valley Forge in Phoenixville has stopped offering classes because of ongoing financial challenges. The 87-year-old Christian institution says it will continue to help students transfer to other schools. Administration officials have apologized to students, saying they believe there was a path forward here, but that solution did not come together in time. The chairwoman of the New York Senate Education Committee is sponsoring a bill that would ban the use of humanoid robots as an instructional tool in public schools. Comes after Salamanca Central halted plans to become the first school district in the nation to employ a teacher robot.
Which is exactly the wrong direction we should be going in education today. Our students need more human connection. That's why we've pushed to get cell phones out of schools.
Melinda Person is president of NYSA, the New York State United Teachers Union.
We need real guardrails for AI in education, and right now it is the Wild West. These companies are coming in and just trying to sell any product to school districts.
State Senator Shelley Mayer says AI-generated humanoid robots pose a security risk to schools and students. Some Pennsylvania households will soon be getting some extra help with their utility bills. It's through a one-time state energy assistance payment. Family Life's Brian Query.
The Pennsylvania Department of Human Services says about 193,000 eligible households will automatically receive an additional $100 payment through LIHEAP, or the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. The money will go directly to the same utility company that received the household's regular LIHEAP grant. To qualify, families must have received LIHEAP assistance and include a senior, someone with a disability, or a child age 6 or younger. Officials say the payments can help cover remaining heating bills or cooling costs if the credit is applied to an electric account. Brian Query, Family Life News.
All right, thank you, Brian. Denny's restaurant employees in New York State can cash in on a new $500,000 settlement. The Attorney General says franchise owners violated state labor laws by not paying the wages that were required for working overtime. Nearly 2,000 current and former Denny's workers will be sharing that settlement money. A Central New York congresswoman has taken the wraps off her so-called gun owners' Bill of Rights. Details on that new at noon from Family Life's Dee Haley.
U.S. Representative Claudia Tenney has unveiled her 2026 Second Amendment plan, outlining her legislative priorities to protect gun owners' rights. This comes amid Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul's recent announcement of a series of state actions aimed at strengthening New York's gun safety laws. Tenney's plan calls for opposing new firearm restrictions, protecting the rights of lawful gun owners, and expanding firearm access for law-abiding citizens. Tenney is a Republican who represents New York's 24th congressional district, including Orleans, Wyoming, and parts of Niagara counties. According to Tenney, her plan supports hunters, sportsmen, veterans, and responsible gun owners. Dee Haley, Family Life News.
Okay, thank you, Dee. U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York is pushing for stronger protections against AI scams that target senior citizens. She is the ranking Democrat on the Senate Aging Committee. Gillibrand says older Americans are easy prey for online con artists.
Scammers use AI to generate deepfake images, clone voices, and launch phishing attacks that drain senior savings. In many cases, AI didn't invent these scams, it supercharged them, making old cons more convincing and easier to pull off.
Nearly $8 billion was stolen from senior citizens last year. $350 million of that was linked to artificial intelligence. Sports next. It's the 2-minute drill on the Family Life Noon Report.
Good afternoon, I'm Randy Snavely. Bob, the Yankees are hoping this is not a trend, but for the second straight game, the White Sox walked it off against New York in extra innings. A bases-loaded walk in the 11th did the Bronx Bombers in. This time around, 2-1 the final. Tough luck for Yankee starter Ryan Weathers. He went 7 shutout innings and allowed only 3 hits. Luis Robert Jr. hit a 2-run single in the 8th inning, and that broke a 2-2 tie as the Mets knocked off Miami 4-2. It was the Elly De La Cruz show in Cincinnati. He hit 3 doubles, swiped 2 bases, drove in a run, and then he scored the game winner in the bottom of the 9th as the Reds handed the Pirates their 3rd straight loss 3-2. Elsewhere in an abbreviated schedule, the Twins were 4-3 winners over the Royals. Tampa Bay edged Texas 3-2. The Bo Sox eked out a 4-3 victory over the Athletics. Another 1-run game saw Atlanta top the Nats 5-4. The Cubs won in 10, 4-2 over St. Louis. The Giants 4, the Padres 1, and Seattle fell to the Dodgers 6-2. Finally, this note from the world of soccer. As soon as word leaked that FIFA was going to sell stakes to private investors, the protest began. And now Europe's soccer's governing body has voted unanimously to boycott all FIFA events, including the World Cup for both men and women, if FIFA goes through with the plan. Well, FIFA is defending its proposal, saying, quote, "Nobody is selling football," end of quote. And, quoting again, "erroneous reporting has happened in the media." But for now, it looks like FIFA is backing down from the move. That is a look at sports.
All right, thank you very much, Randy. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Still to come on the Noon Report, Trump talks peace at Camp David today. Cyber attacks on water plants and a mixed bag weather-wise. Kev's got your weekend forecast right after this.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. A recently released report shows a clear correlation between legalized gambling and gambling addiction. Now, this should, of course, surprise absolutely no one, but it is further evidence that the explosion of legalized sports gambling was a bad idea. In 2018, a Supreme Court decision cleared the way for states to legalize sports betting, and ever since, according to the study shared by Epic Research, gambling disorders have risen by 61% in states that allow it, but is down 29% in states that have not. That's what they call a big spread, pun intended. And the time frame here is significant. Only Nevada allowed sports gambling prior to 2018. Today it's legal in 39 states and in D.C., though app-based gambling has made it basically ubiquitous. The results of this experience speak for themselves. Quoting from the study, of the overall population, adults aged 30 to 49, had the highest overall quarterly rate of diagnosed gambling disorder through the study period. The largest proportional increase was among adults aged 18 to 29, whose rate more than doubled. Rates rose in both sexes and in every age group, but the male to female gap was substantially larger in adults under 50. Look, the math of sports gambling speaks for itself. For example, sports betting companies make enough to pay out a fortune in constant commercials with big celebrities while still raking in incredible profits. As of last year, gambling businesses have taken in around $300 billion. That's as much as China spends on its military every year. And the cost to consumers is not just in the bet. According to a 2025 article by Charles Fain Lehman in The Atlantic, for every dollar that's spent on betting, household investing falls by an average of $2. The years since 2018 have been marked by large increases in overdrafted bank accounts and maxed out credit cards. Legalized sports gambling has increased the risk that a household goes bankrupt by 25 to 30%, and it's caused debt delinquency to surge. And the financial strain, in turn, worsens social pathologies. According to research also cited by Lehman, an upset loss for an NFL home team correlates to a 10% spike in male domestic abuse. Overall, states with legalized sports gambling have seen an estimated 9% increase in intimate partner violence. As it turns out, it seems, it is possible to legislate morality. In this case, to legislate an increase in immorality. The legalization of sports gambling and the general betting industrial complex is a scourge on society, as if a highly contagious illness had a multi-billion-dollar PR campaign driving it. This is a cause that both the left and the right can get behind. Progressives couldn't find a better example of the rich getting richer on the backs of the poor, and conservatives have a horribly perfect example here of the effects of moral decay and the corruption of domestic life. Look, moral decline is not inevitable. Too many are convinced that things always will go from bad to worse, so why even try to turn the tide? Fighting the new normal, especially one like this with so much money and political power behind it, is an uphill battle. But Christians are commanded to love our neighbors, not based on condition. Sometimes that'll mean giving to a local charity. Sometimes that means pressing our leaders to ban that which is destroying lives. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
All right, John, thank you very much. Let's talk weather next. It's Weather Where You Live with meteorologist Kevin Williams.
Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast for this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. High temperatures will be around 80. Then tonight, moonlit skies and low temperatures not far from 60. Hazier skies are due tomorrow with limited sun through increasing clouds. High temperatures in the 80s. And then Sunday is cloudy with showers and a few thunder showers. High temperatures on Sunday in the 70s to near 80.
All right, thank you, Kevin. This is the Noon Report on Family Life. I'm your host, Bob Price. Lots to get to Friday, the last day of July. President Trump is huddled today with his cabinet at Camp David. It's the first time in his second term that the commander-in-chief is hosting a meeting at that rustic presidential retreat in Maryland. Comes as a major peace deal's been announced in the Middle East. The terror group Hamas agreeing to disarm in Gaza. More from Fox's Madeline Rivera.
The president says the agreement will be carried out in structured phases. As Hamas gives up their weapons, the Israeli forces will withdraw. The International Stabilization Force will then work with a new Palestinian police force to keep Gaza safe.
Meantime, the U.S. State Department has leveled new sanctions against China, Russia, and India. Those three countries accused of propping up the regime in Iran by providing weapons, training, and transportation to the Islamic State. Federal investigators are looking into a series of cyber attacks on water treatment plants across this country. They could be linked to Iran. The hackers have targeted systems in more than half a dozen states. ABC's Andrea Fuji.
The FBI has not confirmed Iran's involvement, but officials suspect Iran because it appears the goal of the attacks was to disrupt services as opposed to obtaining ransom money. In 2023, hackers with ties to Iran hacked a water treatment plant near Pittsburgh, saying they targeted the plant for using equipment made in Israel.
A horrific heat wave continues to bake the American Southwest and Northern Plains states. NBC's Ryan Chandler.
We're doing our best to stay hydrated here in Dallas. The feels like temperature here, I almost did a double take, 110 degrees later today. That's hard on people. It's also hard on the power grid. Texas has clocked some record high energy demand during these recent high temps. They tell me the state has plenty of room for people to stay cool, but they are urging people to stay safe as we weather these blazing temps.
Ryan Chandler in Big D today. Cities like Phoenix and Palm Springs could approach 120 tomorrow. And then on Sunday, Death Valley could hit 126 degrees. The extreme heat is impacting over 40 million Americans, as we mentioned, in the Southwest and Northern Plains. A border crisis is worsening between Morocco and Spain. 50,000 have fled Africa for Europe. This mass migration is happening in the Spanish city of Ceuta, which is the only land border between Africa and Europe. Here's Fox's Jay Palcott.
Those new arrivals came by sea and by land, overwhelming local authorities, saying they were fleeing dire economic conditions in Africa. Socialist Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, who has led a pro-immigration administration, has called the onslaught of immigrants a violation of territorial sovereignty.
At least 34 migrants have died trying to escape Morocco for Spain. The American Red Cross is warning of a nationwide blood shortage, declaring only its second ever national blood supply crisis. Stephanie Ferraro is a registered nurse in Boston.
The impact on the patients is huge. I mean, we risk delaying procedures because we don't have enough blood.
Donations have fallen to a 4-year summer low, but the organization's Kelly Insinor says it would not be difficult to reverse the trend.
If we could just get 3 more donors at every single blood drive this summer, that would be enough to stop this shortage.
There is currently less than a 1-day supply of type O positive blood. That is the blood most commonly used in transfusions. You're listening to the Noon Report, a Friday edition on Family Life.
Welcome to Family Life Staycations, a summertime feature where we highlight great places to visit around the Family Life listening area. I'm Mark Webster, and this week we're off to Buffalo's Theodore Roosevelt Inaugural National Historic Site.
Someone call my name.
Whoa.
Theodore Roosevelt at your service.
TR is played by Robin Williams. The inaugural site centers on 3 main themes: the 1901 Pan American Exposition, the assassination of President William McKinley there, and the inauguration of the new president, Theodore Roosevelt. Spencer Morgan is the executive director.
He is the youngest president ever inaugurated, and that inauguration took place here in Buffalo at 641 Delaware Avenue. After a grueling trip on train, TR arrives in Buffalo. 60 people gathered around this young president and witnessed him taking the oath of office. 641 Delaware Avenue, Buffalo served as the unofficial executive mansion for this nation.
Let's fast forward to today. Somebody's coming to visit. What are some of the highlights you're going to see?
The site is open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can only see the site if you are on a guided tour. During the busy season in the summer, we have guided tours every half hour. Make your reservations online at our website, which is trsite.org. As you visit, you'll be brought back in time. You're going to be shown the Pan Am and why the Pan Am was in Buffalo. What was America going through at the turn of the last century? What were the key issues that TR grappled with as a young president? And then you will visit 3 restored rooms as they looked in September of 1901, and you're taken back to September 14th specifically. This site is interpreted to look as it did on September 14th of 1901. We are here because a presidential oath of office took place here. You will also experience what we call our Issues Theater, which is a 12-minute experience where you will explore the 5 key issues that TR grappled with: racial and social justice, environmental conservation, big business labor relations, the threat of war overseas, the U.S. role in global affairs, and immigration and urban poverty. These themes might seem very familiar to our listeners because they're very relevant to today and what we're going through culturally, socially, and politically. That's what you'll experience on the first floor of the site, and then you'll be taken to the second floor where the fun really does begin. We have a recreation of Theodore Roosevelt's presidential office in one space. We have a touchscreen globe, a touchscreen presidential desk. You can get your picture as president on a newspaper, and you'll also experience Buffalo's first hologram. We're very proud to have the hologram of Theodore Roosevelt here under this roof, which is AI driven but is sourced using primary sources from Theodore Roosevelt's time. His knowledge base ends the day TR died, January 6, 1919. So while he's not familiar with the Buffalo Bills or with Mount Rushmore, for example, we can introduce these themes to our avatar of Theodore Roosevelt and talk to him a little bit more about current events. I've noticed that it's multi-generational too. While the technology, of course, we think younger generations are going to latch on and experience, it is our senior visitors that come in to see the site that are really connecting with the new technology. As you enter, you'll enter through the carriage house. That is not a mistake. Our carriage house is our visitor center. It is a recreation of the carriage house that once stood on site, and it was rebuilt in 2008, where you will enter and see our bookstore. We will have a public commemoration at the McKinley Memorial on September 14th, 2026, commemorating the anniversary of his death and the day that TR became president. president. And of course, you can't miss us on Delaware Avenue. We have a giant 45-star flag hanging from the colonnade. That was the flag that was hanging on the site on September 14th, 1901, when TR became president. Later August, you will find it completely covered in black mourning cloth to emulate what it looked like on September 14th, 1901, as we prepare for the anniversary that will take place on September 14th.
What's the most common reaction you get from people who come visit and go through? What do they take away?
Shock. People visit this site and I don't think they know what to expect, because here we have a historic house, and whether you have a love of architecture, a Victoriana, or what have you, you come to experience a national site, a historic house where a national event took place. But when you leave a more engaged citizen from your tour. You will understand the world in a different way, and you will understand the context of what we're grappling with today as a society. We receive a lot of national and international visitors to our area through this national park site. 30,000 people a year come to this site, including thousands of school children through free field trips that we offer for fourth graders through a grant from the National Park Foundation. Just one takeaway from this site, I think people leave impressed because they're not used to seeing a place where preservation, arts and culture, and civics truly collide.
Spencer Morgan, Executive Director of Buffalo's Theodore Roosevelt Inaugural National Historic Site. Learn more at trsite.org. And this has been Family Life Staycations, a weekly summertime feature highlighting great places to visit around the Family Life listening area. Please join us again next time as we hit the road for another Family Life Staycation.
All right, Mark, can't wait to see where we go next week. Great work as always. You can download all Mark's summertime staycation destinations online anytime. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or FamilyLife.org. And finally, at noon for a Friday, it is the last day of July. That could only mean one thing, folks. It's National Avocado Day. Correspondent Bree Tennis says avocados are a fruit that a lot of us mistake for a vegetable.
Yes, avocados are scientifically a fruit because they grow from a flower and have a seed, but we call that a pit. Also wrong. They used to be called alligator pears because they're bumpy. Brown ones are ripe. Leave the green ones on the counter. They're high in calories, but they're also high in fibers, so it kind of balances out. And Americans eat about 30 of them per year. That's each. So get busy on your quota. I'm Bree Tennis.
All right, Bree, avocado and toast for me for lunch. And that's our world. The world we live in. Friday, the 31st of July. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm Bob Price. Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report. Heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.